welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And the other day I was showing you how to make a whole series of little cards. And, oh, my glue's just fallen over. And let's just do a quick recap. So we made these lovely little 3x3 cards with the matching envelopes. And, oh, I've got all the envelopes in the back. And we did them in the silver and we did them in the gold and we did them in the silver. So made the cards to fit into the lovely little 3x3 envelopes for Christmas. And I said I would come on and show you how to make a box to go with them. So I've made the box with exactly the same combination of papers. And they will fit in, as you can see, really nicely. There's 6 that we did on this one, and as you can see there's room for, you could probably fit 12 fairly easily if you don't have too many embellishments. Now this box I've made again and again and again with all sorts of different patterns and things and different times of year because they are so handy as little gifts. So I thought I would show you today one from scratch. I'm not going to make, I've obviously made this one in the papers, all of the details of all of these, the pine punch, the wrapped in play, DSP, all of those things will be below, and I will try and put a link into the other video if you want to see those ones. But I thought I would show you this box, which, as I say, is one of my favourites, and I thought we would do it in one of the other designer series papers, which are just absolutely fabulous. They are, on one side you've got photographic images, so you've got just beautiful photographic images of snow, and you can build up all sorts of scenes and things with those very easy, very simply. Flip it over and you've got lovely silver foiled images. Again, stars, snowflakes, all sorts of beautiful things that you can use for Christmas, and images that you can use for other times of the year as well. So I thought we would work on this designer series paper. It's called Feels Like Frost, and again 6x6 perfect sizes. Again, there will be a link below so you can buy both of those papers and all of the things over on my shop. And we will get started with doing this box. It's a relatively easy box, and as I say, it just fits perfectly 3x3 cards. You can put anything else in it you want, but 3x3 is perfect. So you need a piece of cardstock which measures 11 inches this way by 7.5 inches that way. So just trim a normal sheet 11 by 7.5 inches. Again, if you have a look over, there'll be a link over to my blog and all of the details will be over on there, so don't panic too much. We need to get our scoreboard, and let me just make sure that I've got that in shot. Here you go, so you can see it. And on the long side we are going to score it at, let me just get my measurements so I know exactly what I'm scoring it at. We're going to score it at, whoops, 3.5 inches. We're going to score it at 5.25 inches. We're going to score it at 8.75 inches. And we are going to score it at 10.5 inches. Okay, then we're going to flip it over onto the short side, and we are going to score it at 1.75 inches. And we are going to score it at 5.25 inches. And then we're going to score it at 7 inches. Okay, and that's all the scoring that we need to do. As I said, I will put all of the details over on my blog, so there'll be a link of that down below in the description box. Always have a look down in the description box because I put lots of bits and pieces and things in there. Okay, so we are now going to, I don't need this grid paper on here now, we're now just going to burnish it along all of the score lines. So just burnish it along the score lines. As I say, I've made this box for many years now, and I bring it out for gifts and things at all times because it's a lovely box. It closes beautifully, and it's exactly the right size to fit. It measures 3 and I don't know. I'll have a look at the measurement when we get there a little bit. But it is it's a good size box, and as I say, it works just perfectly for those 3x3 cards, which you can, as I say, put them in the envelopes. I find that when I'm sending presents and things at Christmas, I always put a little note in them. And then put that on there. Okay, so we've now got that that done. Now we're going to take our scissors and we are going to cut down. So it's rectangles you cut down at the score line, squares you cut into as a wedge. So we're going to cut down on here on the inside of each one. Like this, and then on the square we're going to cut this one as well, and then in on the square we're just going to do a tiny wedge. You don't need it to be too big, but just a little wedge. And I've always said, when you're doing boxes and things, take your time. It's all in the preparation. The more time you spend in actually cutting it and getting it exactly as you want it, nice and straight. As I say, on the video I'm going faster than I would normally do. I normally go relatively slowly because I like to make sure that I get everything where I want. But you're going to cut this little wedge out here, and then cut the little wedge out there on that side, just up to the top, and then those pieces can come out like that. Okay, and then we're going to turn it over and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So the score line straight up on your rectangle, cut yourself your little wedge on the square, one up, cut that one in a little wedge, like that, down on this one, cut that one in a little wedge, down on your rectangle. And the reason why we cut the score line away is it helps the box to close more neatly. So those are those pieces. Let me just take these little pieces out here. Oh my God, that one came out. Okay, so you can see just size wise, that's the sort of wedge you're cutting away. So it is only a really tiny little bit. And then if you look at these pieces down on here, the two narrower pieces, we're going to cut both of those away because we don't need those. So again, on the inside, we're just going to cut that one away. And we're going to cut this one away. Okay, so we've got both of those cut away like that. And then on the, if you look at it how it's going to close, because we folded it, this is going to close over. This is going to be our back seam. So if we turn it round, I thought I had a little couple of pieces still stuck on there, cut it round like that. This piece here, which when we open it up, it's this piece here. This piece we need to cut away completely. So the easiest way is to fold those two flaps down, and then you're just going to cut along on here. Let me just hold this in. So we're going to cut this in, and as near as a straight line as you can get it. So straight away on this one. If you've got larger scissors, it probably helps. These aren't particularly long. I should have got my longer scissors out. Okay, so we don't need that piece. Okay, and then when you look at these pieces here, we've got these flap pieces here, and we need to cut away on the two smaller ones. This is going to be the top that goes that holds the box together, and this, or that's going to, you know, hinge into the box, and these pieces we don't need them. So these small pieces, we can cut these ones away as well. So literally just on the inside on the score line, we cut that piece away, and we'll cut that piece away. Okay, so we then have something that looks, let me just get my pieces out of the way. We have something that looks like that. Okay. Now, on this little lid, while we're at it, we're going to keep that piece because that's a good piece we can use again. On this lid, on this piece here, the top piece, we're going to round the corners. Now, if you don't have a corner rounder, you can just angle them. I've got the envelope punch board, which I've always used as a corner rounder, because we don't stock it anymore, but anything that you have that will give a little corner round will help. And doing it now before the box is put together means that you've got your nice little, I'm not sure I got that in, that's better, it's a nice angle. You make sure that you've got your little pieces so that they will go in easier. Now you can, as I say, just take your scissors and just angle them if you want to. Okay, so that is our box ready to have the designer series paper put on. Now, the way I've done it is I have taken, let me drain the pieces because I've already cut them. So you need 2 pieces which are 3 1/4 inches by 3 1/4. And I've done these in Whisper White. Now, this box square is 3 1/2 inches. So you want 2 of those. Then you want 4 pieces, which are 1 1/2 inches by the 3 1/4. Okay, now the reason I put an extra mat on is that then when we are using the 6x6 designer series paper, you can get all of the rest of the design out of one sheet. So I'm going to put these on. If you just have the one layer, which I have done one just with one layer, you'll end up using 2 6x6 pieces, because obviously if you cut your 6x6 in 4, you get 4 pieces, which are 3 by 3. So it means that, as I say, you can get all of it out of one sheet, which is always handy if you're trying to make your paper go as long, as far as it will. It always makes sense to try and cut things down so that you've got them exactly where you want them. So the easiest way is to put your paper on before you put it all together, because then it just makes the whole process just a little bit easier. So we'll put this one on here, and it also allows you to line them up very nicely as well, so that you tend to get your borders and things a little bit straighter because you can see where you're going. Okay, so we want this one on here. Put that one in on here, like that. And then we've got a piece to go on the top and a piece on the bottom. So we're going to do the top piece first. And put that one in on here. And then before you put the... Whoa! That slid across, didn't it? Shows my glue's nice and wet. Just get that back in there nice and straight. It's better. Okay, so when we put the box together again, let's put it together. That's going to be the piece that's going to go onto here. That's going to be our lid. Now this piece is going to fold into the back because we want all of our seams to come at the back. So this piece here, which is this one, we're going to put the other sheet of the white on, which is our border. Then it's really down to you of which papers you use. The papers are absolutely lovely. So you can use the photographic sides, or you can use the silver sides. And I'm going to show you. I've done two. Now this is the photographic side, so these pieces are going to be cut, and I've just taken one sheet. These pieces are going to be cut at 3 inches by 3 inches, so we can have, got to decide which one I want on the front. I think that one on the back, so that's 3 by 3 inches, and this one then is 1 1/4 inches. So this is a plain piece that can go on the bottom. 1 1/4 inches by, it's the prettiest one on the top, 3 inches. Okay, so we can get those like that on there. And as I say, I really like the photographic paper. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. So we'll have that one standing down that way, and you can see you've got the beautiful silver foiling on the back. So either side looks absolutely beautiful. And you can make them using one side or the other side, or even a combination of both if you wanted to. I'm just doing it on this side for this one. So we then need to just take that, so you've got your 1/4 inch border running through. Take that one down, got glue stuck on myself, and then we'll take this one on there, and then we'll take this one on there. I think the photographic paper is just really beautiful because you don't need to do very much to it after you've just put it on, because the pictures themselves are the real focal point. And as I say, by just having that little 1/4 inch mat behind it, it means that you can get, as I say, all of it cut from one sheet of the 6 by 6. So you can imagine how many boxes you can make. Obviously, you're going to use some for your cards inside. And again, that's half the fun. You know, cut your little 3 by 3 notelets, which if you cut a 12 by 12 sheet down, you can get 9 of them out, because they're going to be 6 inches by 3 inches, scored in half at 3 inches, and then they will fit perfectly in the little envelopes that we have. And as I say, I always make quite a few at Christmas time, because I have quite a few members of my family who always say, oh, can you make me some of those, because they are just perfect to add on to little presents and things at Christmas time. You know, we all wrap presents beautifully and we put tags on them, and we put little cards and things on the front as well to give to people. And as I say, these are just absolute perfect sizing. So, and I love this one with the pine covered in the snow. I think it looks really pretty. Okay, so that's those pieces on like that. Okay, so that's all done. And I will show you what I did with exactly the same thing. That's on the other side. And I'll show you how I did that afterwards. So we're now going to put the box together. So what we need to do is we need to glue this little tab piece first. So let's just put some glue down on here. Like that. Always make sure you've got your glue right tight up against the seam. And then if we just tuck that one in a bit and take this across, this will fold. Whoops, put my tab in. This will fold in and go completely down onto that side, because that's where we know it's exactly right because of the fold. Okay, so I'm going to, while I'm at it, I'm going to do this one as well. So that's the little fold piece on here. We're just going to put some wet glue on here. And again, make sure it's right up against the seam, down onto the side. Take this piece in. And that will fold nicely straight down on there. So you've got a nice, clean, crisp edge on there. Okay, and then it's a matter of working out, that was our, so beautifully done. I can't see where that, right, that's the back seam there. So we need to fold these pieces in. So these go in, that one comes down. And then this piece we're going to glue. You don't need to glue the other ones because it's not really going to go anywhere. So I'm just going to glue this one. So we'll just take this along the top, down the sides, and I try and do it down sort of on the bottom edge of there. And then some glue in the middle. And then just square it up and put that down. Squares up really nicely as well. And then if you stand it up, you can just get your bone folder and just sort of press it on the inside, and that helps that bottom bit to seal. Okay, so let's do the other one as well. So we've got this, that's our front, that's our back corner, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we just put our two edges in, that piece down, take our glue and just bring it along and into the center. So you can see how you could make a whole pile of these. Just cut them out to the basic size, and then just before you need them, you can just glue them all together. Okay, so take that one in, put that one in there like that. Okay, so now our box is going to close beautifully, and if you find, in fact, I don't think I trimmed off that edge. I didn't. You can see where you trim the edge off. It just allows it to close nicely. So I didn't trim. I didn't trim that side off. So we're just going to give just a little bit of a wedge down in on that side. There we go. And then you'll find that your box will just close beautifully in like that. Okay, so that's one of them, and this is the other one. So again, this one we should have cut. Did I cut that one off? I don't know whether I cut that one off. If you need to cut it off a little bit more, you can do. Let's see if that will go in there. I might need to just trim. Oh no, that should be fine. Yeah, that one we did trim off, so that one will just tuck in neatly like that. Okay, now one thing we need to do before we go any further, you can see the boxes look absolutely perfect, but it's going to be difficult to open them. So if you take, so let's open this on here, turn it round that way, open this one again. There we go. And turn it round that way. If we take our little 1-inch punch, or any circular punch you've got, and we are going to just put it into the middle. I eyeball it. You can measure it if you want it to be absolutely precise. And you're just going to take a nip. So just like that. That's one little nip. Take the other one in on the center and take another little nip like that. And then you'll find that when you go to close it, you've got just a little thumb hole, which makes it easier to close. Okay, let's take that one, and it'll make it easier to close. Okay, so this one looks absolutely beautiful because you've got the photographic image on, and I probably wouldn't put anything more in there. I might put a little sentiment down on the bottom. This one, what I did was I took, now this sheet was this one, which had the beautiful little pieces on there, and I used the 3 sizes of the stitched shaped framelets, and so it's the 3 squares. So I took the largest one and cut it out in the balmy blue, and then I took the second one down and cut that out in whisper white, and then this little tiny one in the middle, I actually cut it out round this little image because I thought that that would look absolutely beautiful. So that is going to go on the center of this one. So let's just, you can see I don't waste anything. I cut some butterflies out of that, and it was in my scrap box in the right color. So I thought, right, let's use that one. As I say, with your mats, you can always cut things out of them. I always try to do it. I don't always do it all the time, but where you can, makes your paper go twice as far. So this is going to go into the center. Get a real shine on this now, so I just need to get that as accurate as I can in the center. That looks about right, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to put that on there for that to go down. That looks absolutely beautiful. And then what I did, you can see the pretty little snowflake on the top. If you turn it over, you've got all these beautiful snowflakes on there. I hope I'm not getting too much shine on there. And all I did was just fussy cut them out. You could just cut them without the little sort of snowflake pieces on there or the leaves and just have them as pretty flowers. But don't they make a lovely little embellishment to go on the top? So there you are. You have 2 boxes that you can now fill with your 3x3 note cards using one side and the other of the lovely frosted, feels like frost designer series paper. So I hope you enjoyed those. Thank you so much for watching me. Don't forget, please subscribe, and all the details will be below down in the description box. So thank you so much. Bye bye.